Hello A&P2 students. This is the first video for the digestive system, and it'll be an introduction video. So I'm going to go to our objectives. We're going to just discuss the general functions of the digestive system and the parts of the digestive system. Some of this will be a review since you've had this in lab. All right. So we're going to start with the functions first. And again, these you probably had in lab, but these are the 6 main functions of our digestive system. And it'll just kind of depend on which part of the digestive system we're talking about, which of these functions apply. So some of the parts have more than one function, some just have one function. It just kind of depends on the parts. And as we go through the various parts of the digestive system later on through the other videos, then we'll talk specifically about the functions that apply to those particular parts. But this list is pretty complete, and again, you had it in lab as well. I think the wording on some of them might be a little bit different, but pretty much the same. So anytime we hear that word ingestion, that just means putting food in your mouth. And usually we do that with our hands. So anytime food goes in the mouth, into the oral cavity, we call that ingestion. And then motility is something, remember that there's muscle layers within our gastrointestinal tract. And so one of the functions of the gastrointestinal tract is to mix things up with the other secretions that are in the digestive tract, and then move that material along the digestive tract from the mouth towards the anus. And then secretions, we do have secretions coming from the parts of our digestive tract. So, the cells that line our small intestines, they'll secrete products, mucus, things like that. But we also, a lot of secretions that enter our digestive tract actually come from the organs that are called accessory organs. So like from our liver and our pancreas and our salivary glands. So any process where a part of the digestive tract is producing something and then releasing it to help with digestion, we call that the function is called secretion. Digestion is just the breakdown of the material that we ingest. Now, there's 2 ways that our digestive system is going to break down the material that we ingest, the food and drink. The first way, and the thing that happens first, is the physical, or also called mechanical digestion or breakdown. And that's where there's no enzymes involved. It's just physically or mechanically taking big pieces of food and breaking them down into smaller little pieces. And that's a process that needs to be done so that later on the rest of the digestive system can efficiently break it down even further. So now once we got that broken down, large pieces into little small pieces, just by physically, mechanically breaking them down, then comes the chemical digestion. And this is what's happening at a chemical level or a molecular level. So the nutrients that are in our food, so like say starch that's in bread, the chemical digestion of starch is going to involve an enzyme that breaks the bond between the little sugar molecules that are making up starch. And so anytime you have an enzyme associated with the digestion or breakdown, where it's actually breaking a chemical bond, we call that chemical digestion. So those 2 are both digestion, breaking down, but this one doesn't require enzymes, and this one does require enzymes or involves enzymes. All right, and then the last 2 functions are absorption, and that's the movement of the nutrients that we've already. Absorption is going to happen after we mechanically digest and chemically digest material in our food. Then absorption happens. We get these smaller little nutrients, molecules, and they're small enough that then they can be moved from the lumen of the intestines, or I say intestines because small intestines is the primary place where you have absorption, but you can have some in large intestine and in the stomach too. But the movement of the nutrients from the lumen of the small intestines into the blood, so like through the wall of the small intestines and into the bloodstream. So that's what's called absorption. It could go into lymph too. Let me include that as well. So either into the blood or the lymph, depending on what nutrient we're dealing with. And then elimination is the last function, and that one was called defecation in lab. So elimination or defecation, either one would mean the same thing. And that's when anything that we took in that we can't use or can't break down, we consider it not digestible or indigestible, and so then it'll be expelled from the body through that process of elimination or defecation. So those are our general functions for our digestive system. The second objective is the primary difference between mechanical digestion and chemical digestion, and you would say enzymes. Mechanical digestion, no need for enzymes. Chemical digestion uses enzymes to break down or digest the nutrients or molecules in our food. All right, 3 and 4 are going to go over the anatomy, and again, this might be more of a review for you since we've already covered this in lab, but I'll go over it in here, and make sure that you know the difference between why certain structures are part of the gastrointestinal tract and why certain structures are considered accessory digestive organs. All right, so here's a picture. It's pretty big, so we'll start at the top here. Anything that the material that we consume or eat or ingest is going to, any of that's coming into our bodies, that's going to pass through the structure. We call those parts of the gastrointestinal tract, or we call them parts of the gastrointestinal tract, because food that we ingest is actually going to pass through these structures. And it starts with the oral cavity. That's the first structure, and then it'll end with the anus. So we have this tube that passes through our body, and it goes not in a straight line, and it'll end at the anus. And so that's a tube, and it's kind of a modified tube though, because it's again not a straight tube going directly from mouth to anus. It takes little turns and twists and stuff. But the food is definitely, with each one of these structures, passing through those structures and along those structures. So that's why they're called the gastrointestinal tract, part of the gastrointestinal tract. So the whole system is digestive system, but the parts that are making up the tract are the parts where the food is actually passing through. So the oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestines, large intestines, and then the anal canal, that last part, is part of the gastrointestinal tract. Then we have structures that are not actually where food's passing through them, but they will provide or aid in the digestion of the material that we're eating. So these will vary as far as their role in this whole process, but teeth and tongue and salivary glands are the ones associated with the oral cavity, so they're all considered accessory digestive organs. And then down in the abdomen, we talk mainly about liver, gallbladder, and pancreas as being the 3 main accessory digestive organs. So food doesn't pass through them, they're not part of the tract, but they do produce secretions and other substances, enzymes, bile, and bicarbonate and things that will enter the digestive tract. So they're helping and aiding in digestion. And they may have other functions besides just digestion. So they may be part of other systems in the body. So, all right, so that is our intro for our digestive system. So we will start up the next video. We'll start talking a little bit more in detail about the gastrointestinal wall and the structures that make that up.